Turning overseas now, and US President Donald Trump has enacted a law to accelerate the production of vital supplies such as medical equipment to help tackle the coronavirus outbreak. Trump also approved legislation to provide free testing, expand medical aid and unemployment benefits to limit the damage from the pandemic.
For someone who seemed intent on downplaying the seriousness of the pandemic only a few weeks ago, Donald Trump is sounding more solemn about the coronavirus these days. Describing himself as a wartime president fighting an invisible enemy, Trump invoked rarely used emergency powers to marshal critical medical supplies against the coronavirus pandemic.
We'll be invoking the Defense Production Act just in case we need it. FEMA now is fully engaged at the highest levels. Today, FEMA is activated in every region. We are at level one being the highest level.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Housing and Urban Development Department will suspend foreclosures and evictions through April to help the growing number of Americans who face losing jobs and missing rent and mortgage payments. All this as the U.S. Senate overwhelmingly passed a second coronavirus response bill, which provides free testing for the virus, as well as mandating that employers give temporary sick leave to those with COVID-19. The Senate is also negotiating another bill designed to inject up to $1 trillion into the economy, including cash handouts to American citizens to keep them and businesses afloat.
I think there's broad general agreement that small businesses in this country will not be able to survive unless there's extraordinary assistance.
The big thing is to make sure firms, individuals, family, everybody gets through financially to the other side of the virus, and then they can participate in the economy without having, being financially destroyed because of the virus.
The U.S. government has also moved to close the border with Canada, banning all but essential travel there as the country further tightens all travel to and from America.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump was grilled over why he keeps calling it either the foreign virus or the China virus. It comes as Trump upped his rhetoric against China over the virus, saying Beijing should have acted faster to warn the world about how serious it was. When asked whether his statements about the Chinese virus stoked xenophobia or racism, he had this to say.
Because it comes from China. It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate.
Well, Australia and New Zealand today announced a travel ban on all non-citizens and non-residents entering both countries to minimise the spread of the coronavirus. The Australian ban will begin tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. The New Zealand ban came into effect more than half an hour ago. Meanwhile, South Korea is stepping up border checks for overseas arrivals to guard against new imported COVID-19 cases. This comes amid increased concern due to a rise in the number of cases around Seoul. All travellers entering the country need to go through a stricter immigration clearance process, which includes temperature checks and health declarations. They must also install a smartphone app to report their health status during their time there. Over in Japan, the annual viewing parties for the country's iconic cherry blossom season have wilted. The season usually attracts millions of visitors each year. This comes as the government urges citizens to avoid large gatherings. Major cherry blossom festivals across the country have been cancelled.